Hi and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to deploy our Spring Pet Clinic to a Fargate cluster. So let's get started. All right, so I am logged into the AWS console. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm in a different region. I'm in the Ohio region. We've been working out of the North Virginia region during this course. But I'm going to switch to the Ohio region. I'm going to deploy the CloudFormation templates, but then I'm going to switch back to North Virginia where those templates were already deployed, so we don't have to worry about waiting around for it to actually deploy. This CloudFormation template can take quite a bit of time to deploy, so I just wanted to eliminate some of that waiting time. First of all, go ahead and download from the resource section of the Learning Management System. The new files, we're going to have two files, fargate-codepipeline.yaml and fargate.yaml. So you'll need both of those, and feel free to put them into the repository and add them and commit them and push it up to your repository. And then we can go ahead and begin deploying this CloudFormation template. First thing, let's jump over to CloudFormation. So we can go to Services and CloudFormation. Next, we're going to create a stack. We have our template file, and we're going to choose the fargate-codepipeline.yaml file. Next, we need to enter a stack name. So we can call this Spring Pet Clinic Fargate. And for emails, now this is where the alerts are going to get sent to. I'm just going to put an example email here because it's not necessary. Now this is going to be our repo name, which we can grab from GitHub. And again, that's this part after the slash. So in my case, it's spring-pet clinic. And then the repo owner is before the slash. So we're going to paste that in there. And then your auth token you would have wrote down when we created that OAuth app from the first pipeline we did with ECS. So I'm going to grab that and paste that in here. And the repo name is going to be the new repo that we make. So let's call it Pet Clinic Fargate. And let's take away the dash. So just Pet Clinic Fargate. All right, now I'm going to click next, and I acknowledge, and go ahead and create the stack. Now that's going to go out there and create all of the resources, but instead of sitting here and waiting for this to deploy, and it can take several minutes. So I'm going to switch over to the Virginia region where we've been working from, and let's take a look at the stack. All right, so here I am in the North Virginia region, and I'm going to click on our Pet Clinic Fargate. And I'm going to go to Resources. Now we can see we have some of the resources are familiar because we used them in the ECS stack that we did before. But there is a lot less. There's nothing about EC2 instances. And there's nothing about auto-scaling groups in here. So we don't need to worry about those. Now, just like before, we have the code pipeline, and everything is exactly the same in that code pipeline. It's going to create the new stack, which is going to have the ECS cluster. And that's going to be this Pet Clinic Fargate-US East 1 in this case. And then it's also going to create the deployment. So whenever the container is updated, it will be deployed to the new instances, just like it was before on the last pipeline. So nothing really has changed in that one. But over here, we have a lot new changes. we are missing the EC2 instances still, and we're not using any auto-scaling groups. So we're using Fargate to deploy to. Let's go check out that cluster and we can understand more about what's going on. So there's our cluster. Let's go ahead and click on that one. And that's going to open a new tab, and we can see our new cluster, Spring Pet Clinic Fargate. We see the launch type here on the right is Fargate. And in Pet Clinic, we can see we now have a launch type Fargate still. And we can see our tasks, and they are running. Now let's go back to the cluster and check the ECS instances. Remember, in our last cluster, we would see the instances here. But because we're using Fargate and not EC2, we do not have any instances. So we don't need to worry about them in Fargate. It's being deployed as a service. So it's a container orchestrator as a service. It's taking care of those resources required for the containers. So let's go back to CloudFormation. And then under the Outputs tab, we will see our ECS ALB value here. So let's copy that and open it in a new tab, and we're going to add 8080 to the end of it. And now here is our Spring Pet Clinic app. So as you can see, Fargate has made deploying this app a lot easier, and we don't have to worry about the underlying instances in managing them or scaling them. The app will scale as needed based on the request we have in the task autoscaling. So it'll add more when there's more demand and take it away when there's less demand. But the app will be highly available still. So it just adds a lot more simplicity when you're deploying containers. Well, that's it for this lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it. When you're ready, feel free to move on to the next session.